Good morning, YouTube listeners, watchers, students. Today we are doing lesson 4.1.5. Now, this is a 2-day lesson. This is going to take you 2 class periods to complete because there's a lot to this, okay? Here we go. In the last several lessons, you have been finding connections and relationships between different representations and patterns. The key graphic is this guy, okay? There are 4 different representations, and being able to go between each of these representations is the purpose of chapter 4. You have also used information about figure 0, the starting point, the beginning value, the beginning number, and the pattern of growth to write rules. Yesterday we talked about where we found the beginning number and the growth in a rule. We started calling that slope and y-intercept, and we're going to continue to build on that today. In today's activity, you will use pieces of information from various parts of the web to generate a complete pattern. We're going to work on all 4 of these. I'm going to give you one piece of the puzzle, and you're going to complete all the pieces. Today, you're going to apply what you know about the starting point, which is figure 0, the pattern of growth, and the connections between representations to answer some challenging questions. The information in each question, A through D, describes a different pattern. So I am giving you 2 patterns. Notice that you have 2 different multiple representations web. You are only going to do A and B in class, okay? But here's the key part, okay? From this information, you have to generate the rule, a table, a graph, and tile pattern. Notice all 4 parts have to be answered. I'm going to give you one of them. You have to figure out the other 3. Work together as a team. Unfortunately, you're working at home by yourself, but you have to go between each one, okay? Once we kind of get things going, the last component is going to be color coding this as we have in previous lessons. So let's go ahead and use a sample problem so that you know what I'm asking you to do. This is problem 4-34, which is at the end of yesterday's lesson. It gave you this rule. It gave you one piece of the puzzle. So let's apply that to the multiple representations web, okay? So it gave me the rule, y equals 4x plus 3. So I'm going to write that down in my rule. Now notice I could also write my rule here, y equals 4x plus 3. Now, before I get started, I'm going to go ahead and begin color coding information. I'm going to pick, let's choose orange for the beginning value. How many tiles are in figure 0? This is called the beginning value. Well, I know in my rule, this tells me my beginning value. My beginning value is 3. Now notice, I know that is also in my table. If this is figure 0, this has 3 tiles. If I were to draw that as a tile pattern, I could draw 3 tiles. If I were to go to my graph, I know that figure 0 has 3 tiles. I need you to recognize that this 3 is this 3, is this 3, is this 3, is this 3. That is crucial to your understanding. Now, I have completed the beginning value. Okay, so now I'm going to change colors and begin to look at my growth. Okay, I notice that my growth is always in front of my x. So my growth is 4. How many tiles are added between figures? Between figures. This is called growth. It is a growth of 4. So I notice that in my table, it's going to grow by 4 tiles. Well, 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 plus 4 is 11. 11 plus 4 is 15. Now, this middle section, if you needed to show that 4 times 0 plus 3 equals 3, this is how we figure out a table. 4 times 1 plus 3 is 7. 4 times 2 plus 3 is 11. 4 times 3 plus 3 is 15. This is how you complete a table. But we use the pattern, the growth, to show each of these parts. Okay? So there's my growth in the table. What about my growth as a tile pattern? Well, I had my original 3, and how much did it grow by? Well, it grew by 4 more tiles. And you could invent any tile pattern that you want. Any tile pattern that you want. Okay? And then you would grow it another 4. Now notice I've got to go ahead and bring in one more color. Students make this mistake all the time because they will continue to use blue for the growth. But I want you to notice the growth is 4. And so this is the beginning. This is what was already there. And this is the growth. You need to see the difference in those. So in my third tile, or my third pattern, I would have 3. Then I would have 8 that was already there. And then I would have a growth of 4 more. And so you need to recognize that how we color code this is different each time. Last representation. Okay, the last representation is a growth of 4. Up 4 over 1, put a dot. You do not need the triangle, I'm just showing you how I counted. Up 4 over 1 and you put a dot, but I don't really want that triangle. Okay, up 4 over 1, up 4 over 1, and once we have that, we are going to pretend that this is a continuous line, and we are going to put a solid line in just so that we can see how it grows. I would like one triangle labeled up 4 over 1, because one thing that we are going to do to make sure that all of this is done is make sure that we identify that this is the growth plus 4 growth, and we notice that the plus 3 right here, those 3 were the beginning number. Okay? It's important in this lesson that you recognize where the beginning value is in each representation. And you know where the growth is in each representation. Okay? Now, you have done nothing so far on your paper. This is just an example. The 2 problems that I am asking you to do on your papers are these 2 examples. Okay? We'll scoot this over a little bit. Now, I want you to notice in page A, I gave you a rule. Page A, I gave you the rule. Okay? In page B, I gave you the pattern. You have to notice which is the beginning and which is the growth. Okay? Good luck. Have a wonderful day.